Hi, welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk about Lucid. I want to talk about everything that happened and some things that are kind of behind the scenes exactly pushing Lucid up and ultimately why we didn't break $50. But before I get into any of that, you guys know the deal. Smash a thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Don't forget to join my Discord, link in the description below. At the end, I'll do a little bit of Q&A, so feel free to put in the comments any questions that you may have. But I thought I might as well try out a little bit of a stream tonight, see how that goes. But yeah, with that said, let's get right into it. So there is quite a lot of things. Obviously, significant volume. So 150 mil or 153 mil, I should say, volume today. The whole Elon thing, about 10%, obviously having to pay the $15 billion as tax bill. All of that is factoring into Lucid. And I know directly, I did a poll right here. Where was it? Right here. If Elon sells 10%, do you think it'll ultimately help or affect Lucid? And 50% do say yes. And just offhand, just thinking about it directly, it doesn't, right? Especially when it comes to a CEO selling because of personal tax reasons, it kind of makes sense. But the general population, especially when it comes to Elon, doesn't think that. So I think that's why a lot of individuals were jumping over from Tesla to Lucid because of that fact. Obviously, when it comes to Lucid, everyone knows that Lucid is a smoking gun. They're going to do a lot of good things. And I've been saying for quite some time in a lot of my videos, and I just want to show you this. And unfortunately, in a lot of my other videos, I've never really put pieces together. But even looking at the 5-year chart. So hypothetically, again, Lucid has gone through kind of the waves, gone through, as you can even see on the chart right here, this is the 5-year chart. But right here, there's been a lot of lag period that there was a lot of short sellers, especially in 2018. That's obviously when Lucid was renowned for getting heavily shorted. But look at this expansion. This expansion, once actually Tesla got their stuff together, got their production together, they went parabolic. This is like unforeseen. This is massive stuff. And when it comes to Lucid, I think that's why a lot of individuals are physically getting in Lucid and why a lot of FOMO is kind of kicking in, because we are in my opinion, better car, way better. Obviously the battery, I think the battery component is one of the biggest attributes to Lucid, because when it comes to EV in general, it's battery, right? Battery, distance, things like that. And Tesla cannot, obviously Tesla did have obviously a fairly good battery, but now it's Lucid is king when it comes to that. So definitely I do feel that a lot of individuals, and not only that, but hedge funds, institutions, are realizing that Lucid is actually following through with what they're saying. And it's one of those things that it's been a lingering thought in a lot of individuals and obviously retailers' minds for quite some time. But unfortunately, it just needed to put pen to paper and them actually go through with the deliveries. And they did, obviously. And not only that, more and more articles are coming out and referencing Motor Trend, because Motor Trend is obviously highly renowned. But when it comes to Motor Trend, there's been, obviously they did a review of the 2022 Lucid Air. Definitely a lot of things. And not only that, not even counting Motor Trend, there is a lot more reviews coming out about Lucid. And so that definitely is all aiding into the price right now. And so you can even see, looking at the 5-day chart, we have had a lot of volatility. So again, just a full disclaimer, not everything is going to go up like this, hands down. And most likely, I do anticipate, probably the Wednesday, there will be a red day, most likely on Wednesday. Thursday might be stagnant, hit or miss. I do anticipate Friday being a very good day for Lucid, because there's been a lot of different factors, one of which has been because of kind of a partial gamma squeeze as well. So the options activity on Lucid has been going through the roof. I've even been doing a pretty heavy amount of options when it comes to Lucid, selling a lot of puts, buying a lot of calls, and I always continuously do weekly call options, covered calls on my shares, just to get extra premiums. But overall, the option game on Lucid is through the roof. So for those that do know options, they typically, especially when it comes to weeklies, they expire every Friday. So hypothetically, Fridays are a good likelihood of a gamma squeeze, and especially the last 2 weeks there has been a small gamma squeeze causing a nice little surge. So this coming Friday I do anticipate that. So again, so that's kind of where my expectations are for this coming week. But like I said, there's a lot of things kind of playing into the whole fact. As of right now, I want to show you this. This shows as far as a lot of kind of the moving averages and where things are. Actually, not that. That's one other thing. That's a good old IPO that I want to talk about, that whether it's actually justified or not, or whether it's actually playing into Lucid. But anyways, so obviously right now we know where we're sitting at, $45 and change. We see as far as the first resistance point, $48. That shows a nice gap that we need to fill. And that's why this morning we went up so significantly and fairly fast, to be honest, as well. So that's why we got to a high of $47.86 because of there being that huge gap. And as you can see, unfortunately, we did fail to pass that resistance point, but that definitely does and speaks volume as far as what to expect for most likely next week, for tomorrow. So again, if you are just joining, feel free to subscribe, leave comments in the comments below. I'm going to do some Q&A at the end, but back to it. So ultimately, that's what my expectations are for the rest of the week. So again, there is a huge gap, so most likely this is between this areas where we'll open tomorrow. It will be a very strong test if we get past the $50. If we do actually get past and stay and close over $50, then I'm going to have to adjust my price target for Friday, because I do anticipate that being significantly higher. But in my opinion, especially how I drew things over the weekend, I did anticipate a Tuesday and a Wednesday more of a stagnant, if not red day, then Thursday, Friday being a little bit of green. But based on how this pretty significant gap is, definitely shows that there could be a kind of a step up. On the contrary, though, keep in mind, not everything is up. But unfortunately, I know a lot of individuals and Lucid investors did get in and has seen nothing but up. So it's one of those things, but overall, there is a support level of $43. So we could retrace back down to there. Again, this is where on my videos I've been saying that there's going to be, this week it's going to be very pivotal. It has going to be extremely volatile, and you can tell based on the volume as well, 153 million shares just today alone. But it does show that there is a downside potential as well. So $43 to $48. In reality, that's where we'll be bouncing around, most likely tomorrow as well. And again, depending on what we pass, right? If we break past the first resistance point, or if we break past the first support point, that's what will dictate the rest of the week. So overall, on the weekend, I did say about 44 to 46 is where I see it closing at on Friday. But overall, so a lot of technical aspects are working behind the scenes for the price. So like I said, a lot of good reviews, and we've been waiting for good reviews on Lucid. So deliveries as well. So far, no news about that, but it is lingering in the air about hypothetically their earnings, right? Earnings has been floating around for quite some time, and I know technically there isn't much expectation for that. So again, if you're just tuning in, if you haven't already smashed the thumbs up and subscribe, I greatly appreciate that. But moving on, with the earnings, technically that is going to be November 15th at the end of business day. So again, if you guys don't know that, but how so ultimately at the end of business day on Monday. So even though I do anticipate a surge going in on Friday and people getting in because of their earnings, ultimately it's going to be Monday. Monday is going to be an extremely volatile day, and I can't even give a good prediction on that yet. But I have been doing a lot of polls just to kind of get a good consensus of what people are feeling about. So do you feel that Lucid's upcoming earnings are a reason to buy? So 63% say yes, 37% say no, and fairly good, about 1.4 thousand. So ultimately, again, on a side note, I do a lot of community polls and things like that, so feel free to take a look at that. Also, I do a lot of member-only polls as well, so feel free to join as a member, link in the description below. But with all that said, though, So ultimately, 63% do feel that the upcoming earnings is a good buying opportunity. Well, again, leave in the comments below what you guys think about that, then I can discuss that. But ultimately, there is earnings per share, revenue, and future guidance, right? So revenue, non-existent. Earnings per share is going to be negative when it comes to Lucid. As far as what the expectation is on that, it could completely bomb, but in reality, those are going to be non-existent. I think there's very little expectation on that. It's just the guidance. So guidance is ultimately whether they're going to be adjusting their future forecasts, including the remaining 2021. So that would be hypothetically the remaining 445 or 455, I'd say, undelivered vehicles. So that definitely is all going to be playing in on the price. As far as I do anticipate more institutions and hedge funds physically declaring, especially the remaining of the week, showing that they are buying into Lucid. So that definitely is a good sign as well. Recently, as of today, not the best institutions and hedge funds getting in, but a lot of different things playing into Lucid, regardless of however you see it. But so far, there is a lot of positives. There's very little downside. Again, this is where their upcoming earnings, and obviously these 37% of individuals are saying that it's not a good buying opportunity because hypothetically, again, guidance is, as much as we like Lucid, and they definitely do seem like they care about their investors quite a lot, that 37% ultimately is assuming there's going to be bad guidance, that they're going to say, you know what, we can't do the 455, we're going to do 400, whatever it is for the remaining 2021. We might decrease forecast for our 2022 output, or outlook, I should say. So there is a lot of potentials that could go wrong. And keep in mind, Lucid has gone up quite a lot. So even looking at the 1 month chart, everyone knows how good Lucid has been doing. Even looking at that, that's phenomenal. And even on that front, the technicals look pretty good. So side note, I'm going to do a little bit of technical analysis in a minute, but obviously everyone knows how much has gone up. So hypothetically, it could retrace back. The next biggest support level is $35. And so keep that in mind. We're at 45 right now. It could retrace back to 35 if there is bad earnings. And depending on what the guidance actually is, it could break that. I doubt that it would, but yeah, it is what it is. So I am just going to take a peek, see if there's any good comments. I appreciate you guys. Okay, so touched on earnings. Do you think Lucid will drop below 30s? No, unless guidance is really bad. Oh, what's up, Ozzy? And Steve, thanks. Zelda. Appreciate you guys. But yeah, no, ultimately everything is looking good. That's why everyone and their dog is loving Lucid, because there's so many things to like about it. Very little downside, especially in the foreseeable short-term future. So right now, like I said, I'm going to do a little bit of technical analysis. So technicals are looking good. Short interest on Lucid. I have said, as far as a disclaimer on a lot of my videos, I do not think there will be a short squeeze on Lucid. There are some individuals out there that are saying Lucid is a short squeeze. It is not. I've never seen anything hypothetically even have a discussion about a short squeeze when there is 7.18% short interest. That is so low. But regardless, 7% is still 7%, enough to show this. I'm bringing short interest up all the time because it shows pretty much the counterparties, right? Individuals that have a different viewpoint of you. So when they are closing their position, it just verifies and validates that Lucid's going to go up. And that's how I see things. So especially, so you can see on the chart right here, the yellow line, nothing but good things. Shorts are closing out their position. Day by day change, negative 2.02, 825,000 shares that were returned. Definitely everything on the short front is looking good. And I do anticipate, especially going into the earnings, it being around 7 to 6%. Been saying that for quite some time. And so far it's holding true. And that will definitely be very good at the end of the day. So, but yeah, back to it. There's a lot of good things that Lucid investors get to love, whether it be the reviews, short interest, if that floats your boat, the overall EV sector, a lot of institutions, hedge funds getting in. Technical front is phenomenal. I'm a big technical fanatic, and I love relying on that. because there's a lot of things like reviews that technically could lie, but technicals don't, especially if you couple a lot of these like indicators with actual other stats. Like you can see behind the scenes exactly what's happening, right? So as you can see, at the 50, 100, and 200-day moving averages, I got some Bollinger Bands indicators. I got RSI, stochastic momentum. RSI is pretty stagnant, pretty neutral, especially given the price and everything. I always bring this up. So stochastic, typically, when there is a little bit of a deviation, as you can see, I'm going to zoom in. Whenever the black line does deviate from the red line, that does typically show that there's going to be upside potential. And obviously, whether that's now or in the very short term, there is going to be a nice run. That does happen. Momentum shows number of buyers physically getting in, and you can see that is pretty much, except for this moment, we haven't really gone to this stage. We are getting to where we went massive parabolic here, but regardless, we are getting a whole new amount of blood physically getting in. Keep in mind, this is why I say there's going to be extreme volatility, because when there is a lot of new blood, those individuals typically either are, I don't like to call them paper hands, but they are paper hands. There's a lot of individuals out there that only that get scared after maybe a 2% volatility. They want to take profits maybe at 10, 15%, something like that. Ultimately, that is what happens for the long-term health, and it is very healthy. So when things go down like this, maybe on Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it might be, it's healthy for the overall progress of the stock. So overall, everything's good. We are sitting on the higher percentile of the Bollinger Band. So overall, pretty good at the end of the day for everything on that front. And yeah, the moving averages and everything look phenomenal. So like I said, this is my prediction. This is kind of things behind the scenes that are governing the price for Lucid. But with that said, I'm going to do a little bit of Q&A. So if you guys have some comments. So Adam, so you're saying Rivian, as far as IPO, most likely based on what they're saying, the market cap, I would not buy in reality. And it looks like you're saying about $35 retest and fill the gap. Yeah, it could happen very well. But in reality, I think it would have to be the earnings that dictate that. I don't think itself, just based on the momentum and everything that's behind it, I don't think we're going to hit 35 by just basic people losing interest. I don't think that's going to happen, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Yeah, feel free. Let's see, Steve. Yeah, Steve, you know what? I was actually reading that. And the funny thing is, I was debating doing a video. I like to keep my channel as more fact-finding as possible. But in reality, there is a lot of speculation that could be said about anything. Hypothetically, Apple Lucid partnership, both technically have, they're both very good companies, that's to say the least, but they both like high expectations on things. So Lucid wants their cars to be pristine, high quality, and everything. Same goes for Apple. So that's definitely one thing that they have in common. They like to spare no expense. They want the best. So when it comes to, I was actually reading an article that Apple could just buy Lucid, given the right circumstances, right? Because as of right now, Lucid is about, especially with this huge increase, 74 billion of a market cap, whereas Apple currently with cash equivalents and short-term investments has 62.64 billion. So obviously they wouldn't be able to outright buy it. They'd have to do a combination of share issuance and cash, but that is an option, and definitely that's been floating around, right? As far as it actually being reality, I don't think, especially they did indicate that as far as having a $25,000 vehicle within about 4 years, given that they did have a partnership. So I've always brought up in my videos, you know what, that could be Apple, but I don't want to speculate, because hypothetically a $25,000 vehicle and a partnership with Apple on that could definitely happen. That would make Lucid's price go probably easily to 80, 90, easily, hands down. But you never know, right? As far as it building on the sedan or anything like that, I don't know. not really. Not really, yeah. Let's see. Michael, you've been in since CCIV. You are the true OG, Michael. That is definitely 100%. If you've been in since January 13th, you've been through it all. You've been through the roller coaster. Let's see, Hong. Any chance it can go to 40 by tomorrow or Wednesday? Given the circumstances, I do highly think it could happen. Someone said that Tesla is down 12% after hours, but maybe they meant $12. That's only 1%. But maybe I misread that. But yeah, no, definitely I do feel that this whole week is going to be fairly volatile. In reality, I think tomorrow will be a very pivotal point and will dictate the rest of the week, right? Again, goes back to if we break the resistance or the support first, whatever happens first in reality. So if we break the 48 or 43. Again, I'm a very bullish fan on Lucid, so maybe I might be biased. I do strongly think that we will head up, but no matter what, there will be a lot of fluctuation throughout the whole rest of the week. That's probably going to be an understatement, especially considering there is 153 million shares being traded. That's huge. That's good stuff though. But yeah, with that, I do most likely anticipate us getting still, despite unless tomorrow changes, about 44 to about 46 close on Friday. Whether we touch 40, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, it could during pre-market. Yeah, pre-market is one of those ones that sometimes that's where you get the best deals. That's where I bought a huge amount on September the 1st. When it dipped to, I believe, $15.28. That's the lowest I saw it at. I bought at $15.80, 2,500 shares. I was so happy, extremely. Yeah, Adele, I kind of do agree. As far as Apple Lucid partnership, I think likelihood is not there, but in reality, it could happen. And people like to hope, right? People like to put justification on why it's up 8%, 9%, whatever it is. People like to assume and speculate, right? What do you think the floor for the stock? To be honest, I think the floor will be 35. I do strongly think it will end at around 70, if not higher. But especially given everything behind it is going to be very volatile, and there's so much expectation now put on Lucid that even if they do provide the same guidance and don't really give us any good news, I think it will cause a little bit more of a downturn. So potentially 35 being a low. I definitely don't see us hitting 20s unless something fundamentally actually within the economy or Lucid does change. Let's see, Ramen. Answer your question. How do you think earnings will go? Okay, so I kind of touched on this, but as far as earnings, revenue and earnings per share won't really yield much, obviously, because earnings per share is going to be negative. Revenue is going to be non-existent. Guidance, though, I do feel personally that they're going to up their guidance and forecast for 2022. And in reality, provide us a little bit more insight on the remaining 455 vehicles that should be delivered within 2021. And there is, especially that news, personally, I still feel like it hasn't been actually factored into the price right now. But technically, the whole 2024 buy to build the facility in Saudi Arabia, that is huge. And that is like so big of news that I still don't feel it's actually been factored into the price. Especially Saudi Arabia wants to buy only local by, I think that was 2030, if I remember the article correctly, and which would represent a $6 billion amount being purchased on a yearly basis there. Lucid is attacking the Canadian market. Yeah, potentially, but I guess Canadian market is... I live in Canada, and right now, like, as far as Canadian vehicles, like, we don't really... Yes, it's going to destroy Ontario's kind of production line and stuff like that, but I think in reality, throughout the whole world, EV is going to take over, and whether the Canadians we jump on and convert our facilities from old fuel efficient, fossil fuels and stuff like that to EV, I think we're gonna slowly dwindle out. But you never know. Especially Lucid is opening up that Vancouver one. They're supposed to open up one in Toronto as well, just as far as a studio. So definitely a lot of good things. And to be honest, I'm tired of seeing Teslas out around where I live. I kind of want to see more selection. And Lucid, I will be so happy when I see the first Lucid out there. Might be a little bit of time, but regardless, it's going to be very exciting. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. Always with the nice words. Oh, Steve. Wow. I just saw $14.69. Yeah, no, definitely plan to hold long term, 1,000,000%. I would not even risk doing covered calls, because I did buy quite a lot, and unfortunately a lot of my shares did diminish because I did some covered calls that went up faster than I expected. But yeah, 14.69, that is amazing. Yeah, that's good. A potential deal with ChargePoint? Yeah, definitely. They're expanding. They have a lot of rebates and government grants coming their way. Definitely, and Lucid is a huge contender, right? Can't just appeal only to Tesla. The market's going to be flooded with different competitors in probably about 5 years from now. And I think whoever gets market share fast enough, whether it be Lucid, and Lucid is going for Tesla's throat. And that is definitely very true. But keep in mind, look at Tesla's chart as well. Tesla has the production down and so many different things. And the same thing as them, they're aiming for a $25,000 vehicle. So there is going to be that kind of race. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of different things when it comes to that. But all good though. Adam, so any other EVs? Personally, I do like one other one, 𝗖𝗢𝗡, ticker's HYLN. To be honest, 𝗖𝗢𝗡 has been very good, been very, very undervalued. And I'll show you the quick chart. So I like 𝗖𝗢𝗡. It deals more with semi-trailers, semis and things like that, and converting them to electric. So you can see it's 907, huge discount, even looking like it was the same kind of thing, a SPAC that got rolled over. Just unfortunately, it's been sitting well below even what the SPAC was. So goes to show that, again, I think the biggest issue with 𝗖𝗢𝗡 is it has a very niche market that is only dealing with obviously companies and semi-trailers. It's not dealing with the broad public. So this is why it's not as popular as a lot of individuals would think. So, but overall, I think it'll do fairly good. Rob, to answer your question about whether Lucid is going to dilute shares, they will have to, most likely, especially if they are wanting. I believe their Saudi Arabia manufacturing plant is supposed to estimated to be around $3 billion. So they would have to definitely do that by, I think they want that built by 2024, so most likely they'd have to do it early 2023, obviously. But yeah, no matter what, regardless, it's Lucid is a solid buy. And even if they do dilute, I think everyone knows what big money Saudi Arabia has and how big that's going to benefit. So to be honest, even if they said, you know what, I'm diluting 20% this tomorrow, I'd be kind of okay with it. Maybe again, I guess I'm a little bit different because I think very long term, especially when it comes to Lucid. Appreciate that, Brad. Yeah, shame on you for only being up 125% with Lucid. That's a shame. Just wait till Lucid actually gets pretty going, and then we'll be a very strong contender against Tesla. That's for sure. Hong, what's your day job? I work for the feds. So I do a finance job for them. I don't know if I can actually say what exactly, but I work for the feds. anytime, Adam. Yeah, don't forget to add me on Twitter, Stock Twits. If you guys haven't already, smash the thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Also, I do a lot of polls, like I already mentioned, members only polls as well, so feel free to become a member. And if not as well, just answer my polls. I like to refer to a lot of these, especially I like to see the consensus, right? Especially when I'm building a video. And yes, when I do technical analysis, you can piece together some indicators, and based on volume and certain things, you can kind of see how the consensus and individuals are behind the scenes. But ultimately, or you could just ask individuals, right? What do you think of this upcoming earnings? 63% think it's going to be a fairly good buy based on that, right? 37% no. Obviously, there's good old AMC. Then about options as well, especially the options game on Lucid is through the roof. So I do obviously anticipate another small gamma squeeze this coming Friday, and every week until Lucid actually has a red week at that stage. So definitely a lot of good things as well. If you don't know options, do your research on that. And yeah, like I said, I do a lot of polls here. So what do you think about the 65 deliveries? 48%. Yeah, that they like to. I would have thought that was a little bit higher, but initially I had 100 as a kind of a price or a target for that. So, oh well, it worked out for everyone in the end. I think everyone's happy with how Lucid has been performing. What is long term? So Wally, long term for me, Lucid, to be honest, I would say 2 years. 2 years before I think about like anything. But yeah. Let's see. Hamza, sorry. Thoughts on Lucid? That is a very broad question. Good. I don't know. Feel free to replay this video. I kind of summarized it, and I talk fairly fast. Sorry in advance for anyone for that, especially in the videos. I try to get as much out of my mouth as possible all at once and try and make the videos as fast as possible. And that way, benefits you, benefits me, hurts my mouth at the end for talking so fast all the time. But yeah, it's good. Honestly, where do I see Lucid after earnings next week? I personally see Lucid at, okay, so again, based on my guidance, I do feel that if they do up their forecast for 2022, they give us guidance on the remaining 455 vehicles yet to be delivered in 2021, and provide guidance as far as, or at least hint to about the manufacturing facility in Saudi Arabia. I see this as that would take, like, investors would take that to the moon. Like, I personally feel that we could easily attain about 55, 60, and with that, especially the background of the whole economy kind of, in my opinion, continuing to at least not rally, but it's being stagnant and slowly kind of stepping up. I do see us getting to 70 easily, 100%. So that's basically that. Well, depends. So options are too expensive for Lucid. Kind of. I'm just going to show you this. So hypothetically, if you were to buy in today at $45.92, even despite it being 9% up, you can easily, so if you wanted, again, these are ones that are expiring Friday, right? And the reason why they're also so expensive is because you're paying such a high premium, such a high delta, because there's so much potential upside when it comes to that. So just keep that in mind. So right now, $45.92. So hypothetically, even if you buy today, you sell covered call options for this coming Friday, $46 strike price. Let's say you only think it's going to go to $46. You are going to get $3.35. So $335, because obviously one option equals 100 shares. You get $300 and you get a profit. Hands down, that is one of the best deals. And like, obviously you can choose a little bit more far out and things like that, but I think when it comes to options, there is a reason why it is so expensive, because there's so much potential upside, right? So hopefully that answers your question, Wally. And keep in mind, when it comes to expensive options, sometimes, despite everything, they're more advantageous to go with. And at least that's how I have found personally in my investing kind of experience and things. Yeah, exactly, Brad. So I started off by saying that I do feel that indirectly, this Elon doing this tax bill, which obviously is no fault of his own, his personal taxes and everything like that, but him willing to take 10% of Tesla, and not only that, I think it's just Tesla is seen, as much as they've paved the way for EVs in general. I think it's time for them to, and I think a lot of investors know this, it's time for Tesla to step aside. Lucid is going to take over and run with it. And I do strongly feel that's how, whether in Tesla investors, I don't know if you've spoken to a lot of them, they are very head-hearted. They love Tesla, and rightfully so, right? Tesla's made them a lot of money, and no joke whatsoever about that. But it is time for Lucid to step up, and Lucid definitely has not let investors down one bit, whereas Tesla, especially starting out, there was a lot of issues, needless to say, and a lot of which were completed and self-made by Elon as well. So definitely I do feel that. Adam, would I be interested in doing an Apple Lucid video? I could. I personally feel that's very speculative, and I do like to, at least in my channel, I like to bring up mostly facts. And when it comes to Apple Lucid, as much as I would like that to be reality, I do feel that it might not be. Potentially, if there is more progress, or at least some more details, definitely I'd look at it. So feel free, link in my description below, there is a contact info, so feel free, you can email me. I can definitely take a look, and we can correspond that way as well. Leo, that's awesome. 100 shares, 2K profits. Depends on your time horizon, where you see things. I personally see things at $70. So hypothetically, even if you were to sell now, if it does go to where the $70 is, then you will be losing out on roughly about another $1,800 in profits, or 17, somewhere around that. So again, depending on where you see things, and everything is looking up like this, right? This did have incorporated in it the rumors about Apple and Lucid coming out. There was a lot of things that were factoring in this. Keep in mind, this had no deliveries. We are right here. We just imagine what we can actually do at the end of the day, right? John, eventually 1K shares, just like Tesla? Yes, 100%. Probably down the line a little bit. And Lucid, I think, is doing something a lot faster than Tesla did, and expanding to a whole nother continent, whereas Tesla took a little bit of time on that. So it'll be interesting to see how Lucid works out at the end of the day. And Wally, yeah, definitely doing that is good. Buying physical shares instead of options, yeah, definitely, 100%. That was a great assumption. Apple buying, yeah. To be honest, Apple buying Lucid is possible, right? Like, coming from the viewpoint of Apple is very alpha. They like things done how they want it. They want other companies to work based on their rules. And the way I see things, and especially how I've heard, obviously through interviews and things like that, I do feel the management team at Lucid is very, not hard-headed, but they're, again, they know that they're right. They know they have a good product. And it's one of those things that when a company knows that they actually have a good killer product, and that they're going to be very innovative, and they know that they're going to move mountains with it, typically a partnership among those two companies will never work, right? Especially too hard-headed, or even a relationship per se. Too hard-headed people very rarely work, right? So you need one of them to step down. Unfortunately, Lucid doesn't have enough capital to actually buy Apple, or do vice versa. On the contrary, though, Apple does have fairly enough amount of obviously 62.64 billion in cash equivalents and short-term investments. So they'd obviously have to do a combination of cash and dilution, but they could buy Lucid. So especially right now, the market cap for Lucid is 74 billion. So again, it's one of those things that could happen. Let's see. Lucid is a very stable CEO that attacks me. Yeah, that's very true, Brad. Yep, I agree with Jacob. Everyone buy, hold. Definitely this is one of those ones that is going to be the pinnacle of your portfolios. You guys are going to be, to be honest, I don't know if you guys do it. I love watching Wolf of Wall Street. I've watched that so many times, like Leonardo. Actually, even the old school ones I like to watch as well. But I like that scene where he's calling about that penny stock. He's like, you're just going to wish that you just didn't buy more. Obviously, that's not the right wording or whatever he said, but that's how I see it, Lucid. And that's how I feel that a lot of individuals are going to look back, even on this moment right now, this point in time, people are going to look back and think like, you know what? I wish I didn't buy more. To be honest, actually, even September 1st, when I bought in at 1580, huge dip, I knew there was extreme value, and I even kicked myself. I knew, you know what, there was so much value at this stage. Like, I should have just like sold like majority of my holdings, just put everything in Lucid, and man, I'd be rocking right now. So again, it's one of those things. Yeah, F train. Yeah, thanks for answering that, Adam. Let's see. Yeah, I agree. Smart. Lucid management is very smart. Definitely. Yep. Yeah, to be honest, like there's so many things. Ford, you know what, Wally? Ford is not that bad of a option as far as technically based on Ford. Even looking at it right now, fundamentally, it is trading fairly cheap in relation to what it was. Actually, a while back. Obviously, a lot has changed since then. But to be honest, I do like Ford. They definitely do need to make a lot of more changes, but they're in the right direction though. But I guess I personally don't like to have over diversified, I like to have a little bit more of a diversified portfolio, which is why I didn't sell everything to buy Lucid. If not, I definitely would have Ford, Tesla, Lucid. Not really a fan of NIO. NIO is okay, I guess, but I prefer other EVs over them, 100%. And Rivian, I'm not really a fan of them either, to be honest. I think their valuation is a little bit too high. So as far as what price for tomorrow, hard to say. I originally did anticipate, especially how things work, typically a red day on Tuesday, then stagnant Wednesday, Thursday, green Friday. That's, again, just my rough prediction, how I see things. But hypothetically, if you should bounce between this range, about the 48 and 43. And I do see, like, obviously this seems to be what happens so far, at least today. 153 million shares being traded today, so a significant amount, very volatile. So it's, to be honest, whatever passes first, right? If we break the resistance and our support gets to around the 45, then we'll easily stay above that. So again, it's hard to tell. It'll be kind of within range bound, or it could just easily open between the 45 and 48. There's a lot of different factors. Lucid it's hard to predict when something is going up as much as Lucid is, especially when it comes to this. There's so many different factors playing into the price right now. Just one thing I really like about Lucid is their technicals. Technicals is my bread and butter at the end of the day. Yeah, to be honest, I was actually thinking about that, Steve. I completely agree. The whole point about Rivian, their high evaluation, to be honest, I think the hype with Rivian will help boost EV in general, just bring more insight and more money and capital to growth. But when it comes to that point, I do feel that, yeah, Rivian will actually bring a lot more actual investors into Lucid. So definitely, Tyler SKLZ. I actually held about 400 shares of them. I did weekly call options on them. 2 weeks ago, I finally got called out. I made about a good 40%, 50% on that. So I'm pretty happy with that. Currently, I'm not in SKLZ. Yeah, I do agree with that, Adam, but in reality, every stock is in the same boat, right? Every stock is currently has, there's a global chip shortage. Obviously, 2021 will be good, but yeah, I think when a whole sector is kind of struggling, it's where companies such as Lucid and the shining stars kind of glimmer the best. That's a horrible way of saying it, but yeah, definitely a lot of good things. So let me know what you guys are doing. Are you guys planning on buying more? Are you guys just waiting for a good time to take profits? Yeah, to be honest, I liked them initially. I did one video on them. I bought in. I swapped the rebound when it did sell off after their horrific, pretty bad earnings. But no, I think I'm maxed out for every EV. Technically has something. ChargePoint obviously has a good attribute behind the scenes that will help and benefit Lucid. A lot of others as well. So definitely ChargePoint is one that I do feel will is another good buy. I'm sure, Brad, you'll appreciate that. But definitely, yeah, Lucid is hands down a solid buy. But yeah, also, again, for those that have joined, don't forget to smash the thumbs up, subscribe. Don't forget to join as a member as well. Helps me out a lot. Do a lot of polls as well. Also, member-only polls. And in general, don't forget to do the polls in general. I appreciate that, and I do look back on that as well and try and make as many, incorporate them in my videos as possible, such as this. Even, are you interested in the Rivian IPO? It's pretty stagnant, but you know what, with all that said though, I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up to subscribe. But with all that said, let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.